can you speak to the mindset of Brother Malcolm leading up to his death that day?
Oh, I mean, I would say that he was he was tired. I mean, be honest with you, he was tired. He had a lot of things weighing on him. He was he wanted to get the organizations, set up, meaning Muslim Mosque Incorporated, the Organization for Afro-American Unity. His house had been firebombed a week before.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is what I mean. He was tired. He was frustrated. There was a lot of this going on. And I'm not, I mean, I can't see really spending a lot of time. I mean, he was optimistic in the sense that he was still persistent in getting this work done. But, can you imagine how tired you are when you have to figure out where you're going to put your kids and your wife and kids after your house that you've been living in has been burned down and you don't have insurance to cover it? It's not even your house. He actually had been evicted by the nation, from the house. And similarly, like what happened to his family when his father died, right? And so there's all this going on. He knows that he also knows that he's gonna somebody at some point, people have been gunning for him. There have been attempts on his life, inside the country, outside the country. So I would say he was tired. He was exhausted, but he was, still in the midst. He wanted to get this work done. It's important. And he stayed committed to that to the end.
Yeah, thank you for that. The other questions I have are somewhat about journalism. So the first thing is, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, sorry. What are some of the characteristics and quality of a good journalist?
Characters and good qualities. I mean, you want to be able to tell good stories. You want to be able to tell a story and be able to suss out what a story, and the story is really what's for journalists is going to be what's new. It's not about retelling what everybody else knows. You want to find out what's new. Again, if you're thinking about what I was talking about earlier about using information, giving people the information so they can make informed decisions. So you're always going to look for what's going to help people make informed decisions about their lives, whether it's about understanding whether or not they're going to take the inoculation for the vaccine for COVID, or if they're going to travel to a certain country, whether they know how people are being treated, or how they might be treated or what the customs are. But it's like being able to get these stories together, knowing what a good story is, being able to talk to people, not being shy to talk to people, and talking to you want to get sourcing. Reading books and is really important so that you get your background information. But when it comes to interviewing, you want to have that information kind of already set up. I mean, to just interview people, you want to get their story, but you also kind of want to have an idea of where their story might be going. And so you can kind of flesh out and get as much information as you can, because you never know if you'll be able to sit down with that person again or not. But it's important to be a good interviewer, but also do your research before you do some of your interviews, kind of when you decide what a good story is. But you want to know what is going to be new in the story and how it's going to affect what's going to happen. What I mean by what's going to happen, what's new, how it will affect people and influence people. I was just looking at this question, it just popped up. Where can we purchase your book? I'm sorry. So does that answer your question? Do you?
Yes.
Do you have a follow-up?
Yes. I thought you were going to answer about where we could get the book.
The book, you can get it from independent bookstores. Muslims that I know of. I know there's out in California, there's Eswan. I also recommend.
That's where I got mine. Are you coming out to Eswan? I know you can't because
I would love to.
But I'm saying
now I can't, but I would love to. Yes,
yeah, it would
absolutely. I would love to.
Out here, it'd be great to have you out here. Sure, it'd be awesome.
No, I would love to. but there are independent bookstores around the country, wherever you are. I'm not sure where everybody is, but in here in New York, I actually worked out with a bookstore from my hometown, Huntington, Long Island, the Book Review, and I have signed all their copies. So if you actually order from them, thebookreview.com, you'll purchase a signed copy.
Nice. All right. I do have some follow-up questions about this. So I have a nephew, and also just wanted to know, what would you or could you do to produce a good journalist? So if somebody's 10, 11 years old or 15 years old, and they say they want to get into journalism, like, what are some exercises and things that they could do to kind of get into that mindset and get the skills up?
I mean, I think it's important to read newspapers. Well, and for me, growing up, it was always reading newspapers. But reading, just kind of getting an idea of seeing how newspaper stories are kind of put together, you want to look at. And then seeing like how look and start analyzing newspaper stories. For example, do they answer those questions of who, what, where, why, when, and how? Right? And just making sure that they answer those types of questions. I would, just as a starter, and reading to make sure that and if they're not, then looking at, trying to figure out why they don't. And if you're encouraging this person to do their own stories in the beginning, because I don't think you're ever too young, you can start, writing about, where you buy your toys, where the best place to get toys and the best sales or whatever, right? Figuring out how you would apply that to writing your own story. So, or whatever is appealing to you, whether it's even about how your family is, or and the neighborhood celebrates something every year, or I mean, anything local that's pertinent to you. And I would start with stuff that's important or interesting to whoever is interested in this, whether it's sports or if it's politics, or if it's even just local news, particularly local politics, which is really what I think people really need to look at, because we don't really understand because we don't talk about this, the importance of local politics. We keep talking about how important it is, but to really study that and to put out stories about why it's important, how it is, to kind of explain things. And these are just kind of ideas off the top of my head that I would even suggest. But looking at, answering those questions, and looking at how stories are kind of put together, whether you read them on the internet, on newspaper websites, or wherever news medias you look at that are important to you. You can look at that, and then I said that all stories can be taken apart, because not all of them are perfect, and you can learn from that, and you can learn how to even make them better and write them the way that you would want it, and then see how that works. But that's kind of what I would start at doing. I hope that helps.
Yeah, that was great. I'll have my final question before Fred closes out, and I appreciate the time today. Who are some of the current authors and journalists that Tamara Payne really admires and enjoys?
Yeah. Authors. I've been reading a lot of essays. I can't say journalists right now, because I'm just trying. Again, there's so much information. I'm just trying to figure out what's what at these days. But people I definitely like to read a lot of. I like Roxane Gay. I like Ta-Nehisi Coates. I think they're brilliant as far as writing essays, and I think that Ta-Nehisi Coates really fills in the gaps for us a lot on the history, and he's really important to read. And there are many others out there, but like those are two that just I kind of read a lot of.
Got it. Thank you so much.
We truly appreciate.
I just wanted to give my personal thanks, and from all the brothers and the sisters in the chat, everybody's we really appreciate it. I just wanted to show some thanks and give you your flowers while you're doing a great job and bringing us to the barbershop. So we thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Truly appreciate it.